this is a very reflective time. It gives us the opportunity to reflect, as well as to really notice how difficult it can be to invite the mind to reflect. That so much thinking, so much input, so much stimulus going on, it can just be, so hard to quiet the mind. And one of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks is constantly searching for new poems that might be able to help us and speak to some of this. And that is a beautiful thing to do. I have found some wonderful ones. But there's one here that I thought really expressed certainly the kind of thing that goes on in my mind. And it's called Thinking. And it's by a poet called Danusha Lameris. But I suppose as she lists some of the thoughts, I was thinking, which ones of these are the sticky ones? Which ones just kind of, float by and they're not sticky? And which ones are the ones that stick around and, I get into a struggle with and begin to cause that kind of cycle of rumination and concern? So she says, don't you wish they would stop? All the thoughts swirling around in your head, like bees in a hive, dancers tapping their way across the stage. I should rake the leaves in the carport. I should buy Christmas lights. Was there really life on Mars? What will I cook for dinner? I walk up the driveway, put out the garbage bins. I should stop using plastic bags. I should visit my friend whose husband just left her for the Swedish nanny. I wish I hadn't said Patrick's painting looked ominous. Maybe that's why he hasn't called. Does the car need oil? Again. There's a hole in the ozone the size of Texas, and everything seems to be speeding up. Of all those thoughts, I know the one that would stick with me in that position, and it would be, I wish I hadn't said Patrick's painting looked ominous. Maybe that's why he hasn't called. I don't know about which ones they might have been for you, but that's the one that would stick for me, of like guilt and, wondering and fear and the whole thing of isolation and perhaps loss and friendship in question. And what do people think of me, and was I careless? Was I thoughtless? Am I a bad friend? Those kind of thoughts, they would certainly be the ones that would stick around for me. And in these days of this strange coronavirus and the threat that's all around us, some of the thoughts, some of the words of the Taoiseach or the words of some of the journalists who are writing about it have an equally kind of sticky way of just hanging on there. And some of my own thoughts also. So perhaps just identifying maybe one or two thoughts that for you are very sticky and problematic. Let's let them be here, even a little bit, to recognize the ones that are maybe causing us a little suffering. Can we make a little space for them? We don't have to let them get a grip of us, but it's very helpful. Sometimes we know this, just to acknowledge these thoughts are there, because so often they're the ones we're trying to push away, and we're putting so much effort into pushing them away. And it's like that beach ball that we're pushed down in the water. It keeps springing back up. So can we just maybe make a little space? Allow them to be here. And then Denise invites us to come. Let's stand by the window and look out at the light on the field or the houses. Let's watch how the clouds cover the sun and almost nothing stirs in the grass. So as we begin today, perhaps just allowing ourselves to really be as we are with all of our thoughts, all of our sensations, all of our worries, all of our concerns. But it's like that image of the cup of salt. So if we imagine our fear, our worry, our concern to be like a cup of salt. And when we pour the cup of salt into a small bowl, it makes the water undrinkable. But if we can take the cup of salt of our worries and fears and concerns and bring it down to the river, perhaps, the river of mindfulness, the river of connectedness, perhaps the river of a little more ease, and pour the cup of salt into the river, salt gets washed away. It doesn't destroy the taste of the water of the river, maybe just in that area, but it can create some space to hold it all. So to hold the worry, to hold the fear, the anxiety, and to hold the ease, perhaps, maybe. Our capacity, recognizing our capacity to hold this whole human experience exactly as it is. So inviting you to take the awareness, perhaps just to the area around the ears, to experience the ears and the body as being like receivers, receiving whatever is coming to us on the airwaves. So perhaps these sounds are in the room you're in the building you're in the street or the fields beyond, far away, close up. Noticing if we begin to move into efforting, searching for sounds, seeking out sounds, and really inviting ourselves just to sit right in the middle of our life as it is in this moment. Right in the middle of the soundscape, however that is. So we're not hearing sounds as having any particular meaning, but more just like maybe an avant-garde orchestra. We're hearing them in terms of tone and volume, duration, the layers of sound, and the silence out of which all sound comes. Sometimes sound is a really useful, supportive anchor for our practice. particularly if we're feeling anxious or worried. The breath can sometimes not feel so comfortable a place to rest the attention. This is the case for you, then just maybe staying with the sound and dropping under my voice as I lead us further in the meditation. So feeling free to stay right here if this soundscape of yours is supporting you in remaining in the middle of your life. And for those who would like to explore further, perhaps how this body is today, maybe dropping within now into the sense of the body sitting here. Perhaps we can do this with still part of the awareness on sound. So just choosing yourself. How is it to sit here? How is it to feel this connection with the chair or the cushion? How is it to explore the sense of pressure and contact between the body and whatever you're sitting on, and perhaps to really investigate the level of support we're receiving? Or maybe we're pushing away a little. It can be hard for us to allow ourselves to be supported sometimes. We think we have to do it all ourselves. Really inviting this body to allow itself to receive support. Sensing the action of gravity on our limbs. Gravity giving us our weight. The weight of the body really dropping down, providing us perhaps with some stability just in this moment, a place of equanimity maybe, just for now. And maybe sensing the uplift through the upper body. This natural uplift, like a flower or a tree, roots dropping into the ground, allowing this natural uplift towards the sun. How are the shoulders right now? Our poor shoulders, so often where we carry so much of our attention. Can we just allow our shoulders to perhaps find a little rest? We might need to adjust them, allow them to slide down the back a little. Just checking in with these shoulders. Sensing how things are in the neck and the head. Is the skull jammed onto the top of the spine? Can we allow this to be a more restful contact? That the skull just rests at the top of the spine. We might need to draw the head back a little, draw the chin in a little. Just exploring this. There is a place where the head can feel weightless. And it might It might feel okay to move to an awareness of the breath in the body, perhaps. Sensing where it's most alive for you. Some of us may have stayed with sound. Some of us may choose to stay with sensations in the body. Some of us might like to move into this experience of our participation in the great life breath of the planet. Who's doing the breathing? And wherever we're choosing to rest our attention now, just inviting ourselves to notice how tightly we're holding on, and to perhaps give ourselves a bit of a break. We can come back again and again and again, and that is the practice. So if we're holding on really tightly, perhaps we can feel that in the muscles around the eyes, the forehead, the jaws, and the scalp. Often we're holding on tight in the scalp. So perhaps just allowing ourselves a little bit of freedom, as though we're on a tether. And the mind can wander off and bring us back, wander off and bring it back, wander off and bring it back. No big deal. As you sit here, as we sit here together, I have another poem that I thought was really helpful for these times that we're in terms of just recognizing that we're all in this together, and many of the boundaries that normally exist are diminished somewhat. Of course, there's still massive differences between those who are well off and those who are not, and that's another worry, isn't it? But this poem is by Adrian Mitchell, and it's called Human Beings. Look at your hands. You don't have to look at them if you don't want, but you can perhaps sense into your hands. Your beautiful, useful hands. You're not a parrot. You're not a slow loris or a smart missile. You're human. Not Irish, not British, not American, not Israeli, not Palestinian, just human. Not Catholic, not Protestant, not Muslim, not Hindu, just human. We all start just human, and we end up just human. We're human first, we're human last. We're human or we're nothing. Nothing but bombs and poison gas, guns and torture, slaves, greed and war, if we're not human. He invites us to look at our body, but perhaps just sensing into this body, this field of sensation that we call the body. Sensing into this living body with its amazing systems of nerve wires and blood canals. Think about this incredible mind, which can think about itself and the whole universe. sense into your face, this face that can freeze into horror or melt into love. Look at all that life, all that beauty. You're human. They're human. We are human. Let's just be human. So if anything landed or resonated in that poem, perhaps just allowing yourself to be nourished by it. As we sit here in the middle of our life as it is right now. Each one of us in our own space, but also each one of us choosing to connect with each other, making that decision and the effort to come together and practice together as often as we can. People who are long-term practitioners and people who are new to the practice, all of us here together.